What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome to yet another installment, the first official installment of 2021 of the DADS Not Always on Wrestling. I, of course, am the Renegade, JJ Williams.
That's a standing shirt you got there, JJ. You got to say.
Over here to my side is the West Coast professor himself, Jeff motherfucking Meacham.
It's a new year, damn it.
That's right. The big fat man has returned to the North Pole so I can say my intro the way I usually say my intro.
Yeah, the big fat man returned to the North Pole and put the old fat man back in his chair where he belongs.
Can you believe it's 2021 already?
Dude, I feel like I just started this on the audio side a year ago. Like it feels like it was yesterday that I heard the commercial on Sean's podcast, and now here we are. It's crazy. A year later.
You know,
bananas.
I feel like 2020 drug a bit more than recent years.
Oh, yeah, it did.
But it still doesn't feel like a year's gone by yet.
No, it doesn't. And I'm grateful that we were able to have this show and my other shows and your show, which is starting Monday. It's a thing. Yeah, dude, it's so funny. Like when I left the apartment back in 1925 or whatever that was.
Back in simpler times, Sonny.
Simpler times when we still had the kiddos, but the kiddos were actually kiddos and not opposite little shits.
Pepperidge Farms remembers.
Pepperidge Farm definitely remembers. He don't remember much, but he remembers. I had the opportunity to sit back and watch the Renegade series unfold and your movie reviews. I'm like, people don't realize, outside of the past knowledge of wrestling, you know your shit. And I'm very grateful that we're going to be featuring that show twice a month on the Jeff Meacham Network, because I feel like in order to sustain the network and keep it going, we need to do shows like this, like the Renegade, like the Greg Cherry Show, like Stat Boy Sports Bar, where it's not just all wrestling all the time.
Yeah.
So
the key to longevity is diversity.
Yes.
That was the thing that I learned quickly back in the apartment. That's why Ringside Insanity became about movies with wrestlers.
Yep.
It's great to have
coming up pretty soon.
It's great to have, different minds with different opinions.
Yep.
But when those different minds are talking about the exact same thing, all the time, it gets a little redundant.
Yeah, agreed.
So you need to have a little bit of a more eclectic portfolio. So I appreciate you allowing me to feature twice a month in the non-Dads weeks right here on the Jeff Meacham Network. The new show, Renegades Reviews, the reboot, if you will, of Renegades Reviews. I don't know why I'm still getting the Dusty in here. Starcade was like a month ago. Every now and again, when the verbiage seems to fit it, you just slide that in there, if you will.
I don't think that happens during Starcade. I've been talking like Dusty for as long as I've been interviewing him, which was, good grief, 17 years ago. I've been doing the Dream Voice ever since, baby. So,
I've been doing the Dream Voice on and off since I, started to discover him and become a fan of him myself. But it just seems like we did it a lot when we did the Starcade show.
We definitely did.
It seems like it's carried on.
It's funny because Dusty didn't make either of our regular lists.
No.
He only made my honorable mentions, which I thought was so funny considering that's his baby. So.
But in any event, we are here to discuss a non-wrestling topic. First one of the new year. And you could kind of say this is almost as like a mini pilot, if you will.
Yes.
For Renegades Reviews, because our topic is going to feature into what Renegades Reviews is going to be for the month of January. We're going to discuss our favorite Tom Hanks films.
Yes.
As always, go ahead and get that little banner ready if you need to look for it. As always, here on Dad's Not Always on Wrestling, our opinions, this is all subjective entertainment. By no means are we saying that these are the 10 greatest Tom Hanks films,
But they are.
but these are our 10 favorite
Yes.
Tom Hanks films. And the month of January, like I said, on Renegade's Reviews over on the Casa D18 Studios channel, I'm going to be talking about Tom Hanks movies when I relaunch this coming Monday, 3 o'clock p.m. Pacific time.
That's right.
From the 11th of January through the 31st, I'm going to be doing nothing but Tom Hanks movies, and we'll get a little bit more into that later in the show. But Jeff, as is the tradition here on the non-wrestling weeks, why don't you go ahead and start us off, my man?
I will do the damn thing, absolutely. And we chose Tom Hanks because, at least in our generation, and I don't know how much of an influence he'll be on our children's, other than like Toy Story or whatever. Maybe Polar Express, but he is, in my opinion, and in the gentleman to my left's opinion, one of, if not the greatest actors of our generation. He can do anything. He can be in any movie, playing any role, and he will own that role, and he will make the movie he's in better because he's there.
Absolutely. One thing that I say, it seems like almost every episode that I filmed for Renegade's Reviews, I cannot think of a bad Tom Hanks movie.
No. Nope.
I can think of ones that aren't as great as others.
Right.
But I can't pinpoint one and say that movie was hot garbage, a piece of trash, and never needs to be watched again.
Right.
Just can't.
No, you can't. And
he is the definitive boy next door.
Very much so.
Especially in his earlier movies. You know, granted, he's an old man now. Not too old, but you know what I mean. He's an old man now, but
right.
You look at those like Big. You look at movies like Sleepless in Seattle, like Splash. You know, even like Forrest Gump. He is the definitive boy next door. You know, we always talk about the girl next door. Tom Hanks was the boy next door.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the girl next door in Forrest Gump is the most evil movie villain in modern cinematic history. So, you know, there's that. I tried so hard to not agree with the general public, and then I watched a couple times. I'm like, God damn, she is a bitch. Holy moly. She's just a. And again, product of her environment, and we'll get into that, I'm sure, later in our list. But yeah, just bad. Like, you know, I was joking around with our boy Christian. Shout out to Christian. He posted something about Jenny a few months back now, and he was. I posted a very evil gif of Emperor Palpatine, like when he's laughing as Anakin is completely succumbing to the Vaderness once and for all, and he pops off of the slab or whatever, and that look comes over Palpatine's face where he's just like, I got him. I'm like, you worse than this guy, and he goes. Because some of the lines that he's a pussycat, I went, like, if you're more evil than Palpatine, like, you got issues.
But at the end of the day, he still loved her for who she was. Of course
he did, because he's Forrest Gump, exactly. And we'll get into that, I'm sure, as we move along here. Let me just say
the $1 million question is she more evil than Grandpa Joe?
Right?
That motherfucker laid up in a bed for 20 years while Charlie's poor mom worked 500 jobs to support them. But all of a sudden, Charlie's got a ticket to a chocolate factory, and that motherfucker is singing and dancing around the room.
Yeah, exactly.
And Santa's a dick, too, in Rudolph.
Santa is. We had this discussion a couple weeks ago. Santa's a dick. What the hell, man? Anyway.
We're not here to talk about Santa. We're not here to talk about Grandpa Joe.
That's it.
We might talk a little bit about Jenny.
Yeah. Let me just say this before I give my list. Mine's going to seem very subjective because of where things are placed, because of their importance to me and up in here. Yeah.
Do you want to just leave the subjective entertainment banner up for this episode?
I think I better today, yeah. So, all right. So, number 10 is a movie that I had to be convinced of its greatness because I'm not a fan of his co-star. At least I wasn't, other than his one mega role. Then I watched a few of his the co-star's other movies and really kind of developed an okay, not a fondness, but an appreciation, I guess, for this person. And so I was like, okay, I can get into this. Tom Hanks and Leo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can. And I only started watching this because of yo ass. So let me just throw that out there right now. I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed watching, Leo be the not really a villain necessarily, but just very
con artist.
Yeah, a con artist, trickster. Very a devil may care, just kind of a blasé attitude. And Tom Hanks is an awesome straight man, serious role. Like, I got to get this guy. It's my job. It's so the dynamic. It's funny, we talk about Tom Hanks being the greatest of our generation. Leo is now up there, and it took me a while to get to that place with Leo, because I just thought, Pretty Boy, Titanic, whatever. He has got chops, serious acting chops, this boy, and these two playing off each other just works. And it shouldn't, because they're completely different sides of that particular acting spectrum, but they gel very well together. And I thought it was a very good movie. I thought the plot was funny, and it could be serious at times too. It kind of blended back and forth, but all in all, it was a really, really pleasant presentation for me to observe. Good. So that's why it's only number 10, because it was pleasant, but I wouldn't watch it every day. Number 9 is another one I've recently got into and been able to see more. And I mainly watched it a couple times because I knew we were going to do this, and I wanted to make sure I had it on the right spot. Sleepless in Seattle. Again, he and Meg Ryan just work so well. They, Meg Ryan's another one where if you find a bad movie of Meg Ryan's, it's probably not Meg's fault, right? They both just do. It's a great romantic comedy. Honestly, no lie, it's a great first date movie. Just saying. If you live in the COVID area and you can't go nowhere, it's the perfect thing to stream. It's a fantastic romantic comedy. It's got a lot of everything. It's got a lot of, the drama that comes with romantic twists. It's got a lot of the haha that comes with, awkwardness on first dates. Just all kinds of really solid stuff from both Tom and Meg. And I like this a lot better than You Got Mail. I'm not gonna lie, because You Got Mail it seems like the same plot, just in a different setting. So it's kind of like I did this already. But this one I like a lot. I love this a lot. I love this one, and I love her in When Harry Met Sally. I thought that was really nice too. Not Tom Hanks movie, but still really good.
I definitely gotta agree with you there on Sleepless in Seattle. I called Tom Hanks the boy next door. Meg Ryan was the girl next door.
Oh, back then, absolutely. Goodness sakes.
And that's why they worked so brilliantly together. I mean, they did 3 movies together.
Yeah, they did.
Because their chemistry was that good.
Yeah, and it's rare now in Hollywood to see a couple that's not even really a couple that gel that well together on screen.
The last couple that I saw that really gelled that well, that I can think of off the top of my head, and have done multiple movies together.
Right.
And we're not talking about like Avenger type movies where they're ensemble casts.
Right.
Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore.
Yes, I agree with that. And also,
Wedding Singer and 50 First Dates.
Right. To a lesser
the third one.
Yeah.
I don't remember if there was a third one or not.
I don't think there was. To a lesser extent, for the people that are, that follow my stuff and my ex's stuff, Johnny Depp and Helena Bonham Carter did pretty good things together too. I'm one of the few that like Sweeney Todd. I really do. I enjoy Sweeney Todd for what it is, and I think they collaborated well together. Just not as well as Tom and Meg, or not as well as Drew and Adam. But I think for the movies they were given together, it worked.
Not a fan of Helena.
I know.
I can get down with some Johnny.
Right.
Not a fan of Helena.
And to be fair, it's primarily the Burton verse that brings them together. So
exactly, because he puts her in everything.
Right, and him to a certain extent too. So it's going to be bad shit right away. There's no question about it. And also, when we're overlooking, I just thought of it just now because I realized that they did more than the two we know of, because I found out at the screening of the other movie last year that they also did another um, movie with this character as the focal point. Paul Rubens and Diane Salinger. They were great in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. They were great in Batman Returns in the prologue. Diane returns in Pee-wee's Big Holiday.
Ah,
I was not aware of this until I saw Diane at the screen of Big Adventure, went back and went, holy shit. So, there you go. And again, Tim Burton bring people together. Gotta love it. Yep. Number 8 is, okay, I'm going to be a very, show myself at first to be a very poor Christmas person and a very poor children's movie person here. And I'll tell you why. I did not watch this movie for the longest time on purpose because I'd heard it was so sad, and I heard it was just too much, and I wouldn't be able to handle it. And I finally watched it for the first time a year and a half ago, Christmas time 2019. My goodness, it blew me away. The music, the animation, and of course Tom Hanks doing Tom Hanks things. Polar Express. I just adore this damn movie. And I didn't want to. Like it's one of those things that, you know, it kind of creeps up on you. Like it gets really heavy really quickly, but when it resolves itself and everything is happy Christmas ending, it's like, oh, okay, that's pretty good. I like that. That was good stuff. I enjoyed it. So there you go.
It's taken me a couple years to really appreciate it because the animation is so rough.
Yeah.
Considering where animation was at that point and where it's gotten since then, animation really looked bad to me.
Yeah.
But if you can get past that,
right,
and the slow build, it's definitely worth your time.
Yeah, see, there are some movies out there, be it children's or whatever, that have a slow start, but the resolution is just so worth it, like Polar Express. There's other movies, and I'm not trying to single them out, but I always think of this when I think of exposition movies. Man of Steel. Man of Steel is 2 hours and 45 minutes of exposition. Like, for fuck's sake, come on. You only really get the resolution of the plot in the last maybe fourth of that movie, maybe fifth. It just takes forever. But it is, again, the DCU will never be the MCU ever. But I don't think it's as bad as people label it.
Me neither.
But you know, anyway. But yeah, so some movies take a while to get the cylinders firing. This is one of them, but it's worth it. It's so good. Number 7 is one that gets going in a hurry, and then it just crawls to a halt. But the story of Tom Hanks' character development in the situation he's in makes it okay that there's not a whole lot else going on. Castaway. He is in that plane. He's in that crash in a hurry, or the boat crash, whatever. I forget the plane, but it's been a while since I saw it. It's a plane, yeah. But so like it happens in the first not even the first half hour of the movie. Like he's already stuck, and then we just watch his brain slowly delve into talking to the damn volleyball. But I enjoy this movie so much. Yes, it's Tom Hanks, and that's why I do. But I love the fact that primarily this movie is one person dialoguing himself for a good hour, maybe more. And Tom makes it work. Tom has conversations with the volleyball and with the other things on the island. It just he goes a little bad shit, but it's good. I loved it. I loved it when I saw it in theaters. I love it now. The only thing is I don't own it in any capacity, and I intend to fix that very, very soon because I need to see it again because I forget how good it is, except when I see reviews like yours or things like that. It's just a tremendous piece of cinema. And it really should have been. It kind of seemed like they were okay. Well, maybe Tom can save what looks like a shithole plot. It actually turned out very damn good. So,
I had never seen Castaway until I watched it to review it.
Oh,
you know, primarily because I didn't know, as much as I love Tom Hanks, I didn't know if I could deal with 2 hours of him by himself.
Right.
But alas, one of the good things to come out of bringing this show back is watching things that I had never seen before, and it was a good movie. Now, it didn't make my list.
Okay.
But it was a really good movie. It was a lot better than I anticipated.
Right. Number 6 is, I believe, and I may need my Renegade reviewer confirmation here. I think this is the first movie he won the Oscar for, Philadelphia.
Yes. Wasn't the first time he was nominated, but it was his
first time he won, right. Golly, what a story. Him and Denzel, and just the subject material is heavy as shit. Even for 1993, it'd be heavier now, I think. It would have more stake rather than sizzle now, because it's a heavy subject, man.
It was ahead of its time.
It really was.
We had already lost Freddie Mercury to AIDS.
Yeah.
But I think if this had come out a couple years later, when Eazy-E had passed of AIDS, it would have been a whole other level.
You have to remember,
than it already was.
In 93, we were still, I'm on my channel, we were still what the fucking about AIDS. Like, we knew Freddie had passed, and we knew Magic Johnson had the virus, but we didn't know a whole lot about it yet. Yeah, we do now, thank God. But yeah, for the lead role, essentially, to be afflicted with it, it had to be part of the plot line, and the reason the story is basically happening to him. That's heavy duty shit for 1993.
Yeah,
like time. Really, it is pretty dark for a Tom Hanks movie. That's for sure. It's powerful, and you got him and Denzel, which is just a 1-2 punch. I mean, goodness sakes.
And Antonio Banderas in a minor role as his partner.
Right. So and God bless Antonio for you want to take a risk too.
Antonio wasn't Antonio yet. Like, Antonio didn't blow up until I want to say 94 when Desperado came out.
Right, but even
he was still minor leagues.
But even still, a Latin man taking on that kind of role, that's dangerous in 93. That's treading unsafe waters. And Antonio's like, fuck it, I got it. Just a great movie, just a great cast and a great story, and it's heavy, man. I'll tell you, if you're going to watch Tom Hanks movie based on our list or on JJ's review shows, be forewarned, you're going to need to be sitting down and have a case of tissues.
Oh yeah,
goodness. Number 5 was my original first favorite Tom Hanks movie. I just adore this movie, and I think it's because I grew up loving the program, and I grew up loving the aura of the staff and the everything like that. Apollo 13. This movie just speaks to me, man. Yeah, remember you're a little older than me, so you remember the vividness more than I do. Even I still remember it very vividly. But when the Challenger exploded, like, holy crap, did that just eat away at me, because I sat there as a not even 3-year-old little boy watching my mom just come to pieces over some kind of explosion on TV, and I didn't understand it. I don't know if I told you this. I think I told you this off air. Last year, about halfway through the year, I showed Dylan the Challenger explosion. I had not watched it in 34 years. I forgot how much it messed with my shit. It was hard. And then I went back and, watched this movie again. It's like, man, these guys they're just out there in the middle of freaking nowhere, with nothing but each other to rely on in a very, very, very scary situation. I mean, you're up there literally in space. There's nothingness up there. And you have equipment fall through like it does in this movie. And in the real story of the Apollo 13, it's these astronauts, these guys that are going into space and going to the moon, these guys have balls I can't comprehend, man. And I just love every bit of it. Now, the year on this, 1995 or 96?
95.
Okay. Little funny haha that I noticed watching these movies. and I will talk about it when I get to my later movie, and I want to see if you pick up what I'm talking about. But there's a great haha from the previous Hanks movie that kind of carries into this movie, and we'll go from there. Number 4 is going to surprise people. It's up this high, but I love the story behind it. I love the people that are talked about in the story. Saving Mr. Banks. It is no secret that either of us love the Walt Disney Company and Walt Disney himself. It's very clear that we love us some Disney around here. So to see the story of Mary Poppins' development and how it unfolded, even in a dramatization, because we all know it really wasn't that rosy. I mean, come on, it was even worse than it was in the movie. But seeing Tom Hanks play Walt Disney was just so cool. I just seeing our favorite actor play the guy, man. I mean, it's Walt Disney. Fuck, that's our guy, right? And to see how he was portrayed, and yes, publicly, that's how Walt was. Private life, we'll never really know. It just depends who you ask, right? But seeing the realization and actually seeing depictions of him interacting with kids at Disneyland when it first opened, or when it was the first few years it was open, that's how he was. And it was very cool to see the whole, autograph card thing he did, which was very Walt. But just Tom's presentation of Walt Disney, I thought was as close as we're ever going to get to see a modernization of Walt Disney, besides footage we've seen on film for the past, 40, 50 years that we've seen on Disney Plus now about 6 times each since we got the damn thing a year and a half ago. But Emma Thompson, let us not undersell her role as P.L. Travers, because she did a wonderful job portraying her. Paul Giamatti, I like Paul, I always have, but I can't ever not think of him as Pig Vomit from Private Parts. So I feel terrible, but it's I can't get past that in my head. So
Paul Giamatti for the most part always plays some kind of prick,
right?
In his movies.
It was so nice to see him not do that,
and yeah, to see him in a genuine, sincere role, just
right.
Because you want to like the guy. He's a good actor.
Yeah, he is. Paul, I'm not saying he's not. It's just I had the unfortunate scenario of the first time I ever saw him in an acting role was Howard Stern's obnoxious producer in Private Parts. So I can't separate it. It sucks, but what are you gonna do? Number 3 will be no surprise to anybody because it was on a previous list of ours back in the summer. As it was, I do believe. No, we're actually going to review it. Coming up, you and I'm going to make a surprise appearance. Not a surprise anymore. A League of Their Own. I can't think of one thing I don't like about this movie at all. And we'll get more into that when I do the show with you, because I want to keep it short here so we get a nice little thing on the show itself. But this is my favorite baseball movie, period. And I love it. Number 2, you can kind of lump 3 of them together, but I really love the first one the best because it is the first one, of course. That's Toy Story. Toy Story is everything that the Walt Disney Company and Pixar have touted it to be for the last 25 years. It was ahead of its time. It was a groundbreaking, innovative thing. It was computer animation when computer animation was still relatively young in its development of use in movies and TV. But the story is unbelievable. And thanks to certain people, I've had backstories and everything on that movie revealed to me, and completely mind fucked me all the hell. But
it puts certain dimensions of the movie into a new light.
Right? Yeah. It's the whole Andy backstory. You just go, wait, what? I don't want to know. So, but yeah, it's again, Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Annie Potts, Don Rickles, John Ratzenberger, all these elements into one ridiculous melting pot of story, and just the animation is great, but the dialogue between the characters is phenomenal. Tom Hanks is. We talked about this, I think, on one of the shows, maybe the Disney show, or no,
I think we did it on the sequels show.
Sequel show, yeah, because it was on Toy Story 2. Woody's a dick. I mean, for the first couple movies, it really comes down to damn near the end of 3, and then even into 4, where he stops being a selfish prick, and ends up showing that he realizes his place in the world. And Tom, for who usually plays a very very nice character, nice guy thing, seeing him, even hearing him play a selfish little poop head is different, but it works.
Yeah. And if you don't agree that Woody is a prick, especially in the first movie, go back and rewatch it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woody's skeptical of Buzz and everything, but Woody does everything he can to get rid of Buzz. That's selfish. I don't care how you slice it.
Yeah, the whole thing about knocking out the window, he's regretful in a minute. When it first happens, he's like, oh, dick. Number 1 ties back to number 5. And that's because number 1 is Forrest Gump. Now, if you remember, at the end of Forrest Gump, during the wedding scene, when Lieutenant Dan walks up to Forrest Gump after getting his magic legs, where did Lieutenant Dan say they used those titanium on?
Space shuttle.
Yeah, where is Jason Eason and Tom Hanks a year later?
Apollo 13.
Mm-hmm.
Foreshadowing at its best.
Just a second. I saw Apollo 13 and went, okay, who's fucking with me? Gary Sinise is an astronaut with Tom Hanks. Okay. But yeah, Forrest Gump, again, everybody but me seems to think that Jenny Curran is the most evil character in the history of cinematic presentation, and there's no redeeming qualities. Like, I'm inclined to argue with the side that she's a product of her environment, man. I mean, she had the worst upbringing anybody can possibly imagine. Just awful. Like, I can't, like, I don't know that kind of harm because I grew up in a wonderful family. So I can't process anybody going through what that little girl had to go through before she met Forrest. And granted, as time went on, she took advantage of it. No question about it. But I'm also inclined to believe that I don't think she went in with intent to screw him over out of his existence of, having somebody else to, love or fall in love with or whatever, just because she never actively made him love her. Forrest just loves this person because that's who Forrest is. He loved Bubba. He loved his mama. He loved Lieutenant Dan. He's just so full of love. And I think that's what really draws me about this story is, yes, his intelligence is not so good. His IQ is very, very low. But his heart and his soul are genuine, man. Like, there's no way that anybody can sit here and convince me that Forrest Gump is not the most soulful freaking character you will see on film in the last 26 years. He's just so, all he wants is to love and to be loved. He's like a little puppy dog you see in the window, man. All he wants is to go to a home and pour that love on everybody he can find, man. That's who Forrest Gump is. Now, the book version, not so much. Don't read the book. I know we all encourage you to read these on the show. Do not read the damn book. You will be ruined. Your life will be ruined forever if you read the Forrest Gump book because it's not the same Forrest Gump at all. Much different, darker character. But the movie presentation by Tom Hanks as Forrest Gump is, I dare say his best. He won an Oscar for the presentation. The picture won a Best Picture, I believe, for Robert Zemeckis, which again, Robert Zemeckis, not going to toot that horn too much, am I? But yeah, a little bit. Great Scott.
This is heavy.
Exactly, it's heavy material. There you go. See, but it's funny. I rewatched the Back to the Future trilogy last year because I do.
Let's be real. You watched it yesterday.
When we're taping this, actually, that's true. I did. Well, no, I watched part 2 yesterday. How about that? Anyway, a lot of people call Back to the Future the perfect movie, and I'm kind of inclined to agree. There's not really any bad anything about Back to the Future. Forrest Gump is damn near close. I think if Forrest Gump hadn't made Jenny such a freaking word, it'd be the perfect movie. But she was. But it's still my favorite Tom Hanks movie ever.
All right.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, as we prepare for the imminent return to the airwaves of the Renegade Reviews, I bring to you the man behind the reviews who's wearing that oh-so-purple shirt that we love. You can find, by the way, at teespring.com/store/FH Network, no hyphens, because the hyphens are for people that are failures. Renegade himself, J.J. Williams.
Thank you very much, sir.
Sir.
We're just going to hit it hard and try and jump right into this. The number 10 film on my list, when I first heard it was announced, I didn't know what to think.
Right.
And then I saw a picture of him in character on the set.
Okay.
My heart got warm and fuzzy.
I know what you're talking about.
The most recent entry, Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood.
Yep.
Story of Mr. Rogers, Fred Rogers. Just, oh my God. And then to find out during production that Tom Hanks was like a sixth cousin or something.
Right.
Fred Rogers. It's like it was destiny.
Yeah.
Wait, it was density.
Somewhere Zemeckis is just loving all this.
This is where we go to Captain America for the I understood that reference.
Exactly. Where's the gift when we need it?
Just the story of Fred Rogers. I mean, Walt Disney, Fred Rogers, Jim Henson. Those three men pretty much sum up my life. Tom Hanks has played two of them. Just throwing it out there, filmmakers. You want to do a film on Jim Henson? Can we get Tom, please?
Right. Roll beer, Tom.
The
you got
trifecta, get the hat trick going.
Yep.
Wouldn't mind the hat trick.
Yeah.
Number 9 was your number 5, Apollo 13.
Very cool.
I remember seeing this film in the theaters with my dad and being captivated by the whole story. And feeling the anger that Jim's wife feels when she discovers that they're not even airing their broadcast from space on television because it doesn't get ratings. But then all of a sudden, when tragedy strikes, they want to be posted up outside her house.
Mm-hmm.
Now all of a sudden you want a story. Now all of a sudden it matters to you. Go fuck yourselves.
Right, seriously.
Number 8, you touched on also, was on your list, Toy Story. You know, normally I go through and I tell you how many we have, but we have so many that are in common that I feel the need this time.
Right.
More than half of the list.
Jeez.
Because that just goes to show that they are the best performances. But, you know, Toy Story, you know, you can't go wrong with the story of the cowboy who gets jealous at the future space toy. I mean, it's fairly accurate depiction of what happened in the 60s. All the cowboys were replaced by the space movies. You know, and once Kennedy wanted to get the space race going. The days of the cowboy was gone.
Yep.
And so, you can totally get to an extent behind Woody's jealousy, but it doesn't forgive him for being a dick and knocking
Nope.
Buzz out the window.
Nope.
Number 7, I'm a little surprised didn't make your list, but it was probably an honorable mention. Dragnet.
Oh.
Dragnet was probably the first Tom Hanks film for me that was like a favorite.
Mm.
Dan Aykroyd at the time, hot off of like Ghostbusters.
Yep.
Tom Hanks, the budding bright star with the future ahead of him. This was pre-Big.
Yes.
And then the supporting cast, you had Alexandra Paul, who would go on to fame on Baywatch. You had Dabney Coleman. Such a good cast. And
It's
a good
not.
story.
It's not on my list because I still haven't seen it, brother.
Oh, you fail.
I only remember Dragnet because of the quote from Doc Emmerich.
You fail.
I know.
Man.
I fix later.
It's a damn good movie, and the fact that they brought Harry Morgan
Right.
back to play the captain, connecting it to the old Jack Webb TV series.
Yep.
Almost makes it a sequel of sorts.
Right.
Or a reboot way before that type of stuff was really popular.
Yeah, seriously.
Before Disney did 50-year-old sequels, Dragnet.
Or 40-year-old reboots,
Yeah. Number 6, I believe, was your number 10. Catch Me If You Can.
Yep.
I am not the biggest Leonardo DiCaprio fan either.
Right.
I feel like he was very much shoved down our throats in the early to mid 90s, especially once he got around to Romeo and Juliet and Titanic.
Yes.
And I never thought he was that good for all that praise.
Mm-hmm.
I used to joke with people that my favorite parts of a Leonardo DiCaprio movie were the scenes where he dies.
Yep. Me too.
When he gets gunned down in the middle of the street by Gene Hackman in Quick and the Dead, I swear to God, I rewound that scene like 4 or 5 times. Just to piss off people watching it with me that were Leo fans.
Yep. And I was co-signing all about that. Absolutely.
But I can't deny Catch Me If You Can. The other Leo movie that I really like is Gangs of New York,
which you actually got me on. I thank you so much for that, because I was like, there was a lot of people in that movie that were really, really good, but I just couldn't get past Leo. But God damn it, was I wrong. Holy moly, was that good.
And Catch Me If You Can, such an all-star cast.
Right?
For Christ's sake, aside from Tom and Leo, you got Christopher Walken, you got Amy Adams, you got Martin Sheen. Frank Abagnale Jr., the real Frank Abagnale, actually has a cameo as one of the French police officers that arrests him.
Yep.
And this is all based on a true story. That's the even crazier part.
Right?
But Catch Me If You Can, one of my 2 favorite Leo movies, probably one of my 2 favorite Christopher Walken movies.
Yes.
I mean, the whole 2 mice fell into a jar of cream thing, to a bucket of cream speech. I love that shit to death. The first mouse he gave up and drowned, but the second one, he kept going and he kept going. And eventually, he churned that cream into butter and he walked out. The moral of the story is never give up. Always keep moving and you'll eventually succeed. Like that. And to come from that creepy fuck, like, seriously. This is still Max Shrek here.
Yeah, for real.
Number 5, Saving Mr. Banks.
Yes.
You touched on everything earlier, and I don't think honestly, I don't think the character of Paul Giamatti can be praised enough in this movie.
I agree.
You know, you talked about the first thing you saw him in was Private Parts. The first movie I recall seeing him in was Man on the Moon.
Oh yeah, you know what?
As Kaufman's
You're right. You're right. You're
Buddha.
right. I forgot. I actually saw. I know I saw Private Parts. I think I saw Private Parts on USA when they had the edited presentation of it. But I'm pretty sure I saw Man on the Moon before that because I don't think it made USA until '99. So I'm pretty sure I saw Man on the Moon first. So you're right. I forgot about Zabuda. You're very, very good, sir. Yes.
But aside from like this role and the role of Bob Zamuda, everything I see him in, he is such a devilish prick.
Right.
And when he pulls up in his car to take PL to the premiere,
yeah, so cool.
I'm not gonna lie, I start crying every time.
Me too, man. Me too.
Because they formed such a close bond.
Right.
And you can see in her reaction that was exactly who she wanted to see.
Yep.
Such a great moment. Probably my favorite moment in the whole movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, is him pulling up to pick her up for the premiere.
The one thing that bugs me about the movie, and I don't know how if it actually happened. I doubt it did, knowing the way that Travis has been talked about over the years. When she walked into the premiere arm in arm with, I think it was Mickey.
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that happened. All the shit that she
probably not.
There is no way that happened. I'm like, come on. I know they're trying to make it a Disney movie and a decent ending, but it's like, come on, folks. And nobody loves Mickey Mouse more than me. Okay.
Yeah, and you're calling bullshit.
And I'm calling bullshit. Yeah.
You know, whether it happened or not, I feel is irrelevant because it makes the perfect bookend to the story. You know, the entire time she has fought and balked and resisted everything they wanted to do. She gives in and just lets them do the film.
Right.
And come hell or high water, this movie is now made.
Right.
May as well embrace it. Mary Poppins arm in arm with Mickey Mouse. Yeah. It was a cool scene. I mean, historically accurate, probably not, but you know.
Yeah.
And the other thing I don't feel you touched on, but I love, even though it kind of jerks away periodically, the flashbacks to her as a kid.
Right.
You know, basically showing us where all the inspiration for the Poppins books comes from.
Right.
In her childhood. I feel like that was a great touch.
Yes, very, very
cool. Because you see that why she is so connected to the character of Mr. Banks, because it's her dad.
Right. Yeah.
You understand why she didn't want the mustache, because the whole scene of, do you like scratchy kisses or smooth kisses?
Yeah.
And how he would shave midday just to make sure that his face was nice and smooth to kiss his daughter's cheek.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, brother, watching Mary Poppins for the first time after watching this movie, a whole new level of love, man.
Right?
Honestly, like you know how much I love Mary Poppins, but I saw this movie and then I saw Mary again. I was like, damn.
I did it one night as a double feature, and I did.
Oh, dude, you're a glutton for punishment, brother.
Did you hear my Christmas songs a couple weeks ago?
I know.
Just throwing it out there.
I lived through it. Are you kidding me, asshole? Jesus.
Number 4 on my list was the first film Tom was nominated for Best Actor for. Big.
Yep.
The original pairing of him and Penny Marshall, which would just open up doors, you know.
A little bit.
But like I said when we were doing the introduction, the ultimate boy next door.
Mm-hmm.
And the best part was is I've read interviews where Tom watched intently, both in Big and Forrest Gump, the actor that played the young version of the characters,
Mhm.
so that he could try to carry their mannerisms
Right.
to when he becomes them as adults.
Yes, sir. Great.
Such a student of the game.
I was gonna say, dude, it's so funny when we were first talking about doing Tom Hanks, and we were talking about how he would study things. I thought he's the freaking Triple H of acting. He studies
Essentially,
every aspect of the game.
yeah. So much so that my number three, he wrote, directed, and starred in That Thing You Do.
Hmm.
I adore this story. My daughter, not so much,
Yeah, no.
but I adore this film.
Yes.
It is such a time capsule of 60s pop culture, of 60s entertainment, and of the rise and decline of a one hit wonder band. From the injury that takes out the initial drummer
Yep.
so that guy will sit in with them for the talent show, to the rehearsal in the garage of the song, as a ballad, but guy feels that it should be up tempo, winning the talent show, getting paying gigs, recording a record, hearing your record on the radio for the first time, which is quite possibly that scene is in my top 5 movie scenes ever.
Nice.
When Liv Tyler is there at the mailbox getting ready to mail her letters, and she hears over her radio the song come on the radio, and she just starts running down the street in a frenzy, eventually bumping into the bass player who's coming out of the Army Recruitment Center, and they start running to the electronics store, the appliance store where Guy works, and they now turn all the radios on to the other 2 members of the band coming in and joining them. The pure joy in that scene. You can't help but plaster a Joker style smile on your face.
Right. Exactly.
You just get so caught up into it. Then the trip to Hollywood, the showcase, the decline of the band, the turmoil, start to finish, it's just an amazing movie.
Yes.
Number 2 and number 1, we're probably going to go through quickly because you had them on your list. Number 2 is A League of Their Own. Like you said, we talked about it at length when we did the baseball movie list. So much so that when we pre-taped A League of Their Own for Renegade's reviews, I invited you on for it. So make sure you tune in when that show goes up live on the Casa de 18 Studios channel.
Stay tuned, kids.
But this movie is another one. It's virtually flawless.
Yeah.
Gina Davis at her best, looking more beautiful than I think in any other movie.
Oh yeah.
Same with Madonna, if we're being honest.
Yeah.
I mean, let's call it like it is. She looks damn good in Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
But she's made to look like a whore in Dick Tracy.
Yeah.
She kind of plays one as All the Way May, but they don't make her up to look.
She looks classy as hell.
Yes.
And yeah, she's sitting on laps.
When Madonna wasn't looking classy. Let's be real.
Yeah. I mean, she's sitting on laps in the bars and everything, but she's dressed to the nines. Her makeup is flawless. Her hair is divine. She looks fucking perfect. So, anyway.
Rosie O'Donnell, tolerable.
Hey, Rosie even looks good for Rosie in 92.
Lori Petty looks good.
Yes.
And then there's Tom Hanks. If there's any movie where Tom Hanks is more dickish than he is as Woody, It's the
this
first
one.
half a league of their own.
Yeah, Jimmy Dugan is a prick, man. No kidding. Good grief.
But
And
when he has that realization that, number one, he's not going anywhere,
right.
and number two, that these girls are actually pretty damn good,
Yeah.
he rises to the occasion, man.
Yeah, I swear there's a GIF out there that I used on a Face app of the second time he gets in Helen's face. He doesn't say anything. He's just Helen.
Yeah.
That's me with the boy.
Oh, I believe it.
Dylan.
I believe it.
Yeah. So I use it all the time. All the time.
And number one is Forrest Gump.
As it should be. See, I think it's the first time we've agreed on number one, like ever.
I believe so.
That's crazy. But it's true though.
Yeah. It's his definitive movie.
It is, man.
And you talk about how people feel that Jenny is just this evil person.
Yeah.
And to an extent, I can understand their argument, because Jenny, no matter how much Forrest loved her, Jenny never seemed to love him until she was dying.
Yeah.
But he's the only man she had a child with.
Right.
So let's not take that away from her.
Yeah, I honestly
she knew
right.
she was going to get pregnant that one time.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, she didn't abort, when the character of Jenny definitely seems like the type that would have an abortion.
Right.
She did not abort once she knew that she was pregnant, once she figured out it was Forrest's.
Right.
She had enough love for him, even if only as a friend,
right,
that she allowed him to be the father of her kid.
Exactly.
And pass his name on to him,
yeah,
and make him a junior.
Right. Yep.
So for all y'all that hate on Jenny, keep that in your mind.
And I do love the moment at the end where Forrest Jr. is getting on the bus and it's the same driver.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm Forrest Gump and you're whatever name. And she just looks at him like, what? The bus driver's just like, all right, that's cool. Come on up. And I love you too, Daddy. And, dude, when he says I love, when Haley Joel Osment, before he became this creepy little dude, he's just a cute little kid. I love you too, Daddy. It's just like, oh my God. Because again, when you become a parent, shit happens to your genetic makeup. It happens to your tear ducts. When you have a child say I love you back to their father, you become a blubbering idiot. It's just the way it is. So. But I love this movie. I love everything about this movie. It's the only real strictly dramatic movie that I can watch all the time. Like Back to the Future, all day, every day. Even Star Trek, I can't, like, some of them I can't do. Like, they're just so bad. But and even the ones I do like not all the time, right?
Yeah.
This one, all day, any day.
And I feel the same with a lot of the movies on this list. Like Catch Me If You Can, I can watch any day of the week, man. If I'm channel hopping and that's on, controller goes down, and I'm watching it.
Well, it's good that you got 15 days coming up. Hank's movie. No, more than 15.
Yeah.
You got 27 days of Hank movies coming up for yourself pretty soon. So
something like that. You have 20 days, I think.
Yeah, so there you go.
As a matter of fact, Jeff, I think this would be a good opportunity to give the people a little taste of what is in store on Renegade's Reviews this month.
I do believe you're right, sir.
18 Studios channel.
Now, what do you want to condemn us for not having seen Private Ryan or more or less?
What's that?
I said, those of you that want to condemn us for not having Saving Private Ryan or Green Mile on our list, I've never seen either of those in their entirety.
And I only recently watched them for the first time to review them, so I didn't feel like it would be just to the movies on my list that I've seen multiple times
Right.
to put one of them on there.
Right.
Because don't get me wrong, Green Mile was damn good.
Yes.
Damn good.
It is. Very much so.
As a matter of fact, that episode is already in the can also. When that one goes live, Stat Boy Mike Caldwell will be on there discussing it with me, as that is one of his all-time favorite movies.
Very cool. Very cool. I dig it. I'm just checking the calendar real quick here because I know. Okay, so Monday next week, in addition to Talk Wrestling being on Monday, of course, at the usual time, will be on your channel, the Renegade premiere. And what's the first movie you're watching on the Tom Hanks collection?
Splash is the very first one.
Love it. Good stuff.
When it comes to featured artists like this, and I'm going to be doing featured actors and actresses periodically, I try to go chronologically.
Okay.
That way you can kind of watch their acting as it evolves and improves. There's going to be a few movies that are out of chronological order because I shoot Jeff here a list of the movies that I'm going to do and let him pick which ones he'd like featured on the channel.
Right.
So, those movies correspond with the proper Friday that they'll air on his channel and may be chronologically out of order in order to reflect better.
For example, Friday's movie is going to be, I believe, A League of Their Own. Did we decide on that? Or Dragnet? Okay, so haven't seen it, so it's out of my mind. So 1 week from today, on both the Casa 18 Studios channel and here on the JPG Network, you will see JJ's review of Dragnet, starring Tom Hanks and Dan Aykroyd, and featuring a hell of a cast. So keep that in mind for that. But in the meantime, all week next week on the Casa 18 Studios channel, you will find exclusive, brand new content from this guy right here, the Renegade Knowledge of Wrestling, JJ Williams.
Yeah. The Renegade of Wrestling is dead. He is just the Renegade.
The Renegade. That's it. He's the Renegade in all things. That's right. I love that. So that'll be next week. That'll be our second full week here doing the thing. So I appreciate everybody that's watched this week. If you watched Talk Wrestling and Stat Boy Sports Bar and whatever we did on Rewind, I appreciate it very much. It is not overlooked and not it's very overappreciated, I dare say, because I do enjoy the feedback I get from everybody. I can't believe I'm in year 2. It's just crazy that I'm in the first full week, the end of the first full week of year 2 of this crazy endeavor of mine. So I do appreciate you being here, JJ, of course, and I appreciate everybody involved with the channel. And come on back Monday for both of us, because Monday we're at the same time, so you'll have to pick. You'll have the Renegade doing his review of Splash, and myself on Talk Wrestling. That'll be Monday, and of course, both shows are on demand. It's not like you have to choose. I'm just being a dick.
And correct me if I'm wrong, sir, but didn't we also have planned that immediately following my initial broadcast on Monday,
we did.
Splash will also be featured here on the Jeff Meacham Network
for
immediately
Monday,
following Talk Wrestling.
I did. You're absolutely correct. I honestly forgot that until you just said it, because Talk Wrestling has been going to 2 hours lately, so I was not remembering we were going to do it at 5, because sometimes at 5 o'clock I get a little wiggy in my head. I go right into raw mode, so I forget. But yes, Monday afternoon, right here on the Championship Network, you will see both Talk Wrestling and the replay, if you will, the encore presentation, the WWE term, of Renegade reviews of Splash. So stay tuned for that next week. Thank you guys all for watching this week. He is the Renegade. I am the Meech, the Professor, whatever you want to call me. We'll see you next week right here on the Jeff Meacham Network.